It's all right. The Greek financial crisis will soon be over. That's what officials close to the negotiations going on in Brussels tonight say. Except, of course, it won't be over. The Greeks will merely have succeeded in borrowing billions more to try to pay off billions they've already borrowed, while the Northern Europeans who've got to pay the bill will have got some conditions attached they believe they can perhaps sell to their people. The Dutch finance minister, for example, wants a team of commissars installed in Athens to make sure the Greeks stick to the rules. Now, first off tonight, Joe Lynam reports.
Lent starts this week, followed by 40 days of abstinence and self-denial. For many Greeks, this week will potentially trigger a decade of economic distress and a collapse in their living standards. Their fate was sealed 2,000 miles away in Brussels, where Eurozone finance ministers arrived to get a special pleading from the Greek Prime Minister himself. Lucas Papademos argued that Greece had met all that was asked of his people and was entitled to a further 130 billion euros in loans and guarantees. His audience seemed that bit more responsive than they had even a week ago.
Greece has obviously made very important efforts, but we need to continue the work now, and all parties need to provide their contribution. The IMF is part of it and working on it.
It is the intention of nobody to have Greece outside the euro area. This would be a bad solution for Greece, and it would be nonetheless a bad situation for the euro area.
But then came the Dutch finance minister pouring cold water into the punch bowl. He wants to see the troika of the ECB, IMF and EU based full-time in Athens, something which will make the patriotic southern Europeans livid.
I am in favour of a permanent troika in Athens. That's my personal position, yes. I think a permanent, when you look at the derailments in Greece, which have occurred several times now, it's probably necessary that there is some kind of permanent presence of the troika in Athens, not every 3 months, but more on a permanent basis. I'm in favour of that, yeah.
The comments from the Dutch finance minister show that the schism between the north and south of Europe is very real and won't be papered over by warm words. They feel as if they've been misled by Greek politicians in the past, and so they're exacting a stiff price from ordinary Greek citizens. In return for a second bailout worth 130 billion euros, Greece has already slashed wages, cut tens of thousands of jobs and public sector pensions. Going forward, they've agreed to privatise any or every key state asset, and they'll have to get used to the Troika's hot breath over their shoulders, ensuring they don't deviate from the austerity path prescribed for them. But is it workable?
I'm afraid the politics of austerity, of coordinated austerity, won't work. We've been going down this path for the last few years. We've seen depression-level contractions in Greece. And without any economic relief, i.e. some growth, I don't think you can expect a country such as Greece to implement the reforms, the structural reforms that it needs to do in order to become a sustainable member of the Eurozone.
With youth unemployment at 50% and increasingly angry and violent Greek youth could make any deal signed in Brussels unimplementable on the ground.
I think what we are really moving into now is a crisis of democracy, because the euro as a currency is basically public good for the citizens of the Eurozone, right? But the decisions that are taken to save the Eurozone are being taken by individual countries, and again might impose undemocratic and to a large extent I would also say unacceptable constraints on other Eurozone countries.
This week, the Greek Parliament is set to activate what's called a collective action clause to force all bondholders to take a compulsory haircut or write-down of around 70%. Then a small yet important body called the International Swaps and Derivatives Association will decide whether a Greek bailout is in fact a messy default or an hors d'oeuvre to a European Lehman Brothers moment.
Well, Joe Lynam is with us in the studio now. Is there going to be a deal tonight?
Well, they're still talking 8 hours after they started, and so that means they haven't got the deal that they had hoped. I think they're going to be talking a lot about the monitoring that I was referring to there. This is a surveillance where the hot breath of the Troika, the IMF, the ECB, and the European Union will be breathing down on Greek officials and Greek ministers to make sure that they don't stray off the prescribed path. They'll also be talking about this account into which they're going to pay the money. It's kind of like giving someone a £20 note with a chain attached to it, because the Greeks won't really have access to the money in the way that they'd like, because the Troika, once again, will be controlling that account.
And even at the end of all of that, all they'll have succeeded in doing is borrowing money against an imminent rainy day, which will have to be paid off at some point.
Have to pay it off at some point, all going well for the Greeks. This is all going well. They would get their debt burden down to 120% of GDP by the end of this decade. That is still unsustainable by any measure, but that's everything going well, and that the economy somehow recovers. Remember, it shrank by 7% last year. That's a depression, not a recession. And for that to happen, there needs to be some sort of private sector investment. As I was making reference, the rich people in Greece, they're squirreling their money away out of the country, and so the private sector-led recovery, that's going to be a tough one.
Well, why has the mood changed so much then?
The mood from the north to south has changed. The Germans, the Dutch, the Finns, etc., who have yet to vote on this bailout deal, if there is one, they may not approve it. They may say, listen, we have been lied to in the past by Greek politicians. We don't want to be lied to again. We're not going to put our money on the line, because it's mostly the AAA-rated countries, such as Germany and Holland, they're going to put their money on the line.
Joe, thanks very much. Thank you.